just me trying. And so that's what caused me to look at a bunch of different businesses. I'd only saved $50,000 up at the time. I was 23. It was either going to be a frozen yogurt store, something fitness related, or test prep because I was pretty good at standardized testing. I ended up realizing I didn't have enough money for the frozen yogurt and the standardized testing. I got into a partnership with someone and then it fell apart. And so I felt like scarred from that. So I was like, I guess I'm going to do fitness because that's what I was into. Went out to California, started a gym, struggled a lot, but ended up figuring it out. Opened up 5 more locations after that. My whole claim to fame was that I was able to open each location cash flow positive day one with no money out of pocket. And so that's how I was able to scale so quickly. Basically, what I would do is I would sign a lease and then start running ads before I even had anything built out. And the model that I had was not very difficult to get the equipment for. I would generate enough pre-sales from the launch to cover the entire opening of the gym. So I'd be able to do $100,000 to $150,000 in cash collected in the first 4 or 5 weeks. And from that, basically outfit the entire gym. And by week 6, it would be cash flow positive. And that's pretty much what I did over and over and over again. From there, started doing gym turnarounds because I realized I could fill a gym so quickly. It was more of a hassle to keep opening all these gyms than just go to gyms that were empty and then just fill them up and then just move to the next gym. Did that for 2 years, did 32 turnarounds. It was during that process that I lost my money twice. Once was with a partner at the very beginning who was like, I filled his gym up and he said, hey, I'll come behind you and I'll just operate all the gyms. Then you don't have to give anything away. You'll just own them all. And then promptly took the money out of the business that I had saved up from selling the 6 gyms that I had. And so that sucked. But I learned a valuable lesson, which is in general, if you have the option between getting into business with someone who's already been indicted for fraud and not, then just choose the ones who haven't.
All things being equal.
Yeah, if you have no option, everybody that you know has been indicted for fraud, then you have to just choose the best one. But for me, that was big lesson number one. Honestly, it was like 4, 5, 6 months later, it happened again because we started scaling this turnaround business. And the problem was we would sign up 200 members into a gym that was a struggling gym. That's why they were so empty. And they didn't have the infrastructure or capacity to be able to take on that many customers. And so when I would tell them, hey, I'm going to fill your gym up, they were like, sure. But then when I did, they're like, oh my God, what's going on? And so one of 2 things would happen. A couple of times people just said, go home. They literally just told all the customers, just refund and go home. I can't handle this. The other more nefarious situation was people would say, how much did you make? And they would go to every customer and say, hey, just pay me half, refund with that guy, and I'll continue to deliver the service. And so the big lesson I learned there was that one, the quality of the customer is oftentimes the quality of the business, but he who controls the revenue controls destiny. They had the relationship with the customer and I didn't. I just did the sales. From there, we were about to get out of the business altogether. A Hail Mary occurred. My now wife, then girlfriend, had an online training business doing $4,000 a month. And I tried to figure out if I could get out of all these refunds because every month we'd have these refunds from these gyms that we were selling into. So I'd have to sell more the next month to cover the refund. So it became this really vicious cycle. I couldn't sleep. It was horrible. And so I was like, wait a second, we could just sell direct to consumer the way you do. And so within 48 hours, I took a ton of stimulants, didn't sleep, wrote the longest and best sales letter I've ever written. And then we started doing $1,000 a day. It was like, okay, I can take the 8 sales guys, bring them centralized. We do 8,000 a day. I could cover the $150,000 loss that I have to make up in the next 30 days in profit. So I called the next gyms that were supposed to launch, told them, hey, we're getting out of the business. We're going to do something else. One of the guys says, hey, launch my buddy's gym. And his buddy was not an unethical person. I just actually helped that guy's gym. And he said, I need this. I'm going to lose everything. I just mortgaged my house for this. Like, please, can you at least show me? I was like, show you? Yeah, sure. I guess I can give it a shot. And so I said, but I'm not flying out there if you can't sell. And he's like, no, it's fine. And so I picked the highest number I could think of because I wanted to get him off the phone. And he already said he was broke. And so I said $6,000. And he said, $6,000? Done. And I remember just like looking at the phone, being like, holy crap, like what just happened? I had 7 more calls that day. And next call, same thing. How much? $8,000. Next call, same thing. How much? $10,000. Ended up doing $60,000 in sales in a day. And Layla came in at the end of her sales day and she was like, I went 3 for 4 or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I think we're still in the gym business. And she was like, wait, you just sold me on this big vision, how we're going to go online, direct to consumer. And I was like, no, I think we were just doing it wrong. And so that's when we got into the licensing model. And that's when everything really blew up. I was able to make enough from selling back all the turnarounds that I'd done. Hey, remember I filled your gym up? Want me to show you how I did it? And I was able to cover all the refunds that were due for that next month and basically be break even. I could finally breathe again. I was officially just broke again, but no debt. And then from that, the next month, I think we did 220, then 380, then 480, then 780, then $1 million, then 1.2, then 1.5, then I think it was like 1.82, 2.2, and it went all the way up to 4.4 million a month within 20 months. In the first full calendar year, we did 17 million in EBITDA. I was 27. Layla was 23 or 4. It was wild. That was the big unlock. And so fast forward, sold 5,000 locations over the next 4 or 5 years. I started a supplement company to sell through that distribution base because I was really good at supplement sales too, because I'd learned that from my in-person experience. We ended up packaging those companies and selling them to American Pacific Group. I sold 2/3 at a 46.2 million valuation in an all cash deal.
That was your first big exit.
That was the first big exit. And during the 5 years, we took out 42 million in distributions. So that was like still a very cash flow positive business. But I'd been in gyms for a decade at that point. So I was ready to just not be the gym guy anymore.
Yeah.
And probably the last 18 months, I'd done 2 or 3 deals where I had invested some of my own capital into some companies, just in minority positions. And those companies had done exceptionally well. And I think our distributions just from the 3 investments we had made for not a lot of money was already bringing in 500 or 600,000 a month in cash flow to us. And we had no team. And I was like, man, this is cool. I wonder if we could do something like this. And on Christmas Day, I officially started acquisition.com. The thesis I had was everybody wants proprietary deal flow and everybody wants people who trust them when they get into a deal process. I wonder if somebody has merged a influencer social media brand with the traditional private equity model. I had no idea. And so I started making 3 YouTube videos a week. I had 0 subscribers. I think I had 10,000 people who followed me on Instagram, and that was it. But that was the thesis. And it turned out that if I made stuff that made business owners more money, they trusted me more and were more likely to want to do business with me. We started getting inbound deal flows just from YouTube. And one of the biggest companies we had was just from a guy just reached out and said, hey, I was at 1,000 subscribers at this time. That company was doing $2 million a year. And this year, will probably do 110 million 4 years later. We had a company that was a single location consumer service business that had been stuck at under $2 million a year. And then within 40 months, it got appraised at 170 million.
And tell me about the social media ramp up, year 0, year 1, year 2. How quickly did that ramp?
I had the Gym Secrets podcast.
Was that an interview style?
No, just me, just talking head. So I lost all my money the second time, April of 2017. And my first podcast episode is July of 17. You can follow the whole thing from 0 back again 90 days after I was at 0.
We both know many people that make a lot of money, then lose it, and oftentimes make even more on the come up. Why is losing all your money a prerequisite for success?
I hope it doesn't have to be. Third time's the charm for me.
Probably 50% of the people I know worth hundreds of millions or billions of dollars have gone through this arc. There's something there. What is it?
That makes me feel better. I think I would say there's 2 completely dichotomous things that come out of it. On one hand, you earn a very healthy respect for risk. Not everything is going to work out. On the other hand, you know that you've lost everything and yet you are still here. And so it's this healthy appreciation for risk that's completely contrasted with the utter comfort with losing it all anyways.